Let me quickly show you how to properly utilize the OLS system. First, you'll need to navigate down to the specific area and then carefully choose the desired frequency setting. I'm going to with annual start end year. Let's pick the whole sample period. I'm going to pick size as the main explanatory variable. I'm also going to control for book to market ratio, the answer for future growth. And finally, as the last step in this process, I will be controlling for the current ratio. And then I'll select firm performance measured by return on asset as the Y variable. I'm going to introduce a one-period lag in our data set between the X and Y variables. What this implies is that the X data point will be recorded exactly 1 full year prior to the observation of Y. Let's now proceed with its implementation. And then, after that, we'll proceed by scrolling further down the page until we eventually reach the OLS section. At this point, we must once again carefully make our selection of the specific X variable. The fundamental reason for this crucial step is that it will provide you with significant flexibility to execute the very same core test, yet with an entirely distinct set of control variables. Consequently, I will now proceed to meticulously select and confirm all the variables that I intend to incorporate. And I can also save the expected values along with the error terms, which are commonly referred to as the residuals that result from the regression analysis. You can name it here.
You can choose any name you'd like.
And then at that point, you'll be able to proceed with the standard error configuration process. My plan is to cluster all of the centers together, grouping them by their respective firms, and then from there I will extract their own unique identifying symbols. I'm also going to choose a robust covariance for the standard error, specifically utilizing the Newey-West method. So, what you're able to do here is perform a two-way clustering operation, and you can do that simultaneously. After that, my next step will be to apply the ordinary least squares method. And this particular analysis will then reveal the regression outcome. Specifically, it will provide the coefficient, the t-statistic, and the p-value. Additionally, you have the option to perform your analysis by dividing your data into separate samples, which means you can work with several subsamples. So instead of utilizing just one large comprehensive sample, you gain the flexibility to create 2, 3, or even more distinct subsamples for your investigation. For example, to demonstrate this method, let's select Y as the specific variable by which the data will be split. And so we will begin by selecting just 2 specific groups for our consideration. Following that, we'll then proceed to split this particular data based on the complete value of the entire sample. Consequently, the Y-axis value will be accurately measured by incorporating data from all of the available years. And in this specific situation then, you will need to execute the regression analysis once again. Don't forget to carefully make your selection of the independent X variables. And once again, for this particular run, we should select all available variables. Please note that the error terms and the expected values from the previous regression have already been generated and saved should you wish to utilize them.
And then I'll be ready to move forward with it. I want to use the OLS.
And as we anticipate, this particular calculation ought to provide us with a comprehensive regression outcome that pertains to the entirety of our dataset, a result which we had previously derived and confirmed in our earlier analysis. However, at this juncture, we are specifically focusing on the first quartile, or Q1, which represents our initial sample group, encompassing both the lower range of Y values and the corresponding higher range of Y values within this specific segment of the data. And I can clearly see that Q1 exhibits a significantly lower Y value, which is evident from the specific data point located right here. Q2, on the other hand, demonstrates a much higher value. These are, in essence, the average values calculated for each respective group. And now we have the comprehensive results laid out before us, allowing for a direct comparison. Furthermore, you can even perform a more detailed and specific comparison by utilizing this dedicated toolbox. And once you have successfully executed the comparison, it will then clearly show you the precise difference in the coefficients that are found between your 2 distinct samples, covering all of the regression coefficients variables. So, that's the end of it. Thank you all for watching.